What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about ClawdBot or MaltBot. They just had to change their name. But what is this and how can you make money with this? How does this affect your business? So what this bot is, which is now called MaltBot, because Claude just sent them a cease and assist, which is different. It's different from Claude Anthropic's AI. Is it's a self-hosted, always on 24/7 AI. This is not like a chat GPT where you basically talk to it, it gives you a response, and then you talk to it and it gives you a response. No, it works 24/7. Now, what is this? It's basically like Claude or OpenAI or any model you connect to it with hands. And so it's self-hosted, right? It's on your own, server, on your own Mac Mini, your virtual, computer, wherever. And what you do is you think of it like a brain and you interface it, you connect it via WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack. And all you do is you just send in a message and it memorizes everything that goes on with your day to day or whatever task you're doing or everything. And what's cool about that is, let's say I go and I connect it to my Discord, my Slack, and I start giving a task like, hey, go read this email, and this client wants me to build this app. Go and vibe code this app. I connected you into, Lovable or something. Vibe code this app. Go send it back to them. Then if, whatever email they send after, go ahead and reply to that. Let's say they want revisions, go ahead and reply to that, make the revisions, and then send it over and say, hey, do you like these new changes, XYZ? Go back and forth with them until they're happy, and then send me a full report of your conversation. Boom. That's all done autonomously, right? And there's a big shift in 2026 where, every year we can have these big AI phases. In 2026, a couple years ago, I asked AI, what are going to be the big shifts? And in 2026, it said autonomous AI agents. And I didn't really understand what that meant until this thing came out. And you might be like, oh, well, there's other, N8N can do this and other things can do this. Yes, but this is way easier to set up and way less complex than N8N, and it is so much like if you've used N8N, N8N is you got to know your shit. You got to hire someone to do it. With this, you can set it up on your own. You can connect it into different channels. And you can basically let it go browse the web. You can run commands. You can have it monitor for stock price. Hey, alert me when this stock drops down to here, and connect it to a Phantom wallet. Give it some crypto and say, hey, go buy it at this price, or go, trade meme coins. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's at that level yet, unless you really know what you're doing. But basically, like, it allows you that if you do not know an industry and you try to build it within an industry, it's not going to work. But if you know your industry, right? Let's say I have a window cleaning business and I go and I'm on, these Facebook groups or Nextdoor groups. I say, hey, go. I'm going to give it a whole bunch of accounts, scan all of these Facebook groups. Anyone who is looking for any plumbing service, gutter cleaning service, whatever service, go ahead and build out a custom pricing calculator. Then go put it in the comments. When they fill that out, go ahead and follow up with them until you can book them onto the calendar, or go ahead and book them onto a calendar and then go reach out to a home service business and sell them a pre-booked lead, and then go connect it to Stripe, and you get the point, right? And so there's not really any specific use cases because this just came out 2 weeks ago. But this is going to be the start of autonomous AIs. And what that means is you're going to basically have a machine that you're going to take, some ideas that you have or some things that are kind of specific to what you're doing. You're going to fully automate it. And if you can automate it with all of these different steps, you built this system that will just go out and make money. And now you're just kind of managing your money making AI, if that makes sense, which is just crazy time to be alive. It's basically also going to be your personal AI assistant. From what my understanding is, by 2030, everyone will kind of have their own personal assistant that manages, their relationships, their friends, all that, any personal bank account, finances, all that stuff. We are not at that level yet, but if you're really into this stuff, then you're like, hey, great, I got this for my business, but I want this to basically be my executive assistant. It can do that. It can remind you to follow up with clients. It can do anything you want. It can jump on with calls, and it can monitor calls, and it can create a summary and then to-do list, and then go do those to-do lists. All of that stuff. Now, keep in mind, you still have to be in the management role, and also keep in mind the security risk with connecting this into your personal stuff. I would suggest making an actual separate email and putting it on and I'll get into this later, but putting it on a self-serve device. Because this is like new, and this is like giving a child your credit card. There can be issues. Don't give it your credit card. Don't give it your social media. Don't, like, I've seen people think of it as like a 2-year-old with the brain of Albert Einstein, times 100, and it can just be careful. Okay. This is early. This is new. You should be aware of it, but only a few of you should actually take action. Usually I say take action with, things I say. You don't need to take action. You should just be aware that, hey, these are coming. This is the start of 2026. By the end, we're going to see a lot more of these. By 2027, we're going to see whole departments be complete AI systems. And the thing is, you might be like, oh, yeah, that's great and all, but, like, it's going to take a few years to trickle down to, bigger businesses. And it's not like some people don't even know what ChatGPT is. So keep that in mind. Browser automation, it can basically, book appointments. Like I said, download files, read files, do things. You can set it so it can basically start working on its own, so it'll learn what you do, and then it will start doing things without you prompting it, which is unique, and you don't really have that out there today. You can basically, make full workflows. You can do anything, and you can have it what's called a cron, where it can actually just talk back to you. Like, it'll just talk back to you and ask you questions and stuff, which is like, it's an interesting thing. And one of the interesting things about this is you actually give it what's called a soul, which is you give it's basically if you guys use a knowledge base, you give it like or if you use Claude projects or these custom GPTs for Claude projects, it's like you give it just a prompt on, like, here's your roles, here's what you do. Like, for example, you're the best LinkedIn poster and you specialize in this niche and you post this type of content, you have a hook and you lead with value per set, like, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you give it kind of like a soul. And what's also cool is you could connect in different skills to the ClawdBot or the MultBot, whatever it's called now. Right? So if you see what Anthropic's done is they had the MCP, right, connectors. What the issue with that is just delay time, and the new thing is getting pre-built skills. So it's kind of like if you're familiar with code, you type in a line of code, and it's like a skill. It's like a way shittier version of what a skill is today with these AI models. That's what skills are kind of. It's like these, kind of commands. For example, skill of making a LinkedIn post, skill of taking a screenshot and checking your work, skill of whatever, you know what I mean? And so that's what's really cool. This is, you can give it skills, and there'll actually probably be marketplaces where people sell different skills. Additionally, you can get notifications, right? I want to be notified on literally anything that I think is important. I can just get a reminder if anything looks off. If I'm monitoring something, and I just let's say it monitors. Don't do this now, but in a couple years, maybe it monitors, my financials, and it says, hey, your bank account is, just went down 5%, or hey, your bank account, you just added an extra 20%. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you get the point. You can pretty much, you can do a lot of things with it. You can integrate it to different things. Now, this is where you give it its own accounts. Do not give it anything connected to you. Please don't do that. Just don't do it. Like a lot of you, I don't encourage you to actually build these, and just be aware of what's out. Like, for me, it's like, be aware of what's out there. Understand where the future is going, what everything's going, and realize, like, hey, we're super early. We're at the leading, you know what I mean? It's like we're leading the race, right? We're super early, but realize it's gonna take a few years for people to even comprehend these simple things like ChatGPT. So it's gonna take many years for this to go out into the actual workforce, into our day-to-day lives. But within 5 years, it will be pretty common for you to see fully, self-sufficient AI agents, and then AI agents that are managing those other AI agents. Um, Now here's how to actually set it up. So you have two options. Well, you have a few, but one right now is you've seen everyone buy these Mac Minis. And think of this as like basically it's like a little server, self-contained kind of server that you put, and you just go install it. Think of it, like 20 years ago, I guess you still do it, but it's like you buy a virtual, buy a computer, and it's kind of like the family computer, and then you just buy a computer, right? It's kind of like buying a computer. You buy the hardware for your AI agent. You go train your AI agent, and it goes and does whatever you want it to do. The second option, you run it on a virtual machine. Be careful with this. Like, just you don't want to have this thing on your personal shit because you don't know, like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to put a 3-year-old in a room with a whole bunch of like super ancient like vases and artifacts that are worth tens of millions of dollars. Because what are they gonna do? They're probably gonna fuck around with it and break shit. You know? So be really careful. With that, obviously, in terms of cost, it's gonna be way cheaper for a Mac, not a Mac Mini, a virtual server compared to a Mac Mini. But with the Mac Mini, it's a little more secure. Still, just like don't. Some of you are gonna just start building these things, and that's great. But just be careful on the security side of things. Like, be really careful with some of this stuff because there is a lot of vulnerabilities, and if you're in cybersecurity stuff, you will. If you're a hacker, is this today, like, you're gonna love life, but be careful. Right now this is literally a couple weeks old, and it's blowing up everywhere. If you're in any of these tech bubbles, you already know what this is. But yeah, this is a very fast growing thing, and it's gonna really change how we do things. And I encourage you, if you're watching this, if you want to get into business, if you're a business owner, if you're whatever, right? Even if you're, let's say, even if you're like a pro athlete, you're going to be using AI to monitor different teams or different competitors and how they move and be able to predict what they're going to do and create specific training plans off of it. Like, everything, if you are a creative or an expert, doesn't matter what you do, what field, business, non-business, whatever, this will affect your life, and this will change a lot of things around you, and this will change everything. And so please just be aware of it, understand it. You don't need to dive in and build these AI agents yet. If you want to, that's great. Just be safe. But yeah, like, for me, it's just I want to educate you and show you, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's coming. Be prepared. It's okay. Like, it's just position yourself wisely for the future, because it's gonna be a very interesting next 5 years. Like, it's ever since 2012, we hit this transition cycle, and it's gonna be interesting. If you like these type of videos, go ahead and leave a comment, leave share this to your friends who are interested in this stuff. And yeah, just be careful if you go and make one of these. Stay safe. Don't give it your bank account, and really just look at things. Like, if you're in a business owner, try to look at, and you should tell your team this too. Look at what you're doing, and then learn about some of these AI tools and say, hey, can we automate this stuff? Because our goals as founders, a lot of things like I do as a CEO is now going to be done by AI. Right? And so a lot of people are like, oh, fuck, my job's getting replaced. But it's like, no. It allows you to do the things that you are naturally good at. And so you should just be thinking, what am I doing? What is repeatable? And it used to be delegate, but now it's like, okay, it's like, it used to be delegate, create an SOP, and then manage, right? But then you have to manage, and then you got to, you know what I mean? Now it's delegate, right? You still create an SOP, but it's an AI agent that works 24/7. And then you still have manage, but then that management role will be replaced within the next few years as well. So that's kind of where we're heading. I hope you enjoyed. Again, you can share this with your friends. Leave a like. I have an agency that helps with some of this stuff. Also do some consulting. If you got any questions, it's servicelabs.ai. I don't think YouTube's letting me put a link in the description, so I might put it there. I might not. I don't know. But yeah, you can leave a comment, reach out to me. Happy to help. If you just have any questions, you just want to talk about this stuff, you're like, hey, this is really cool, I want to talk about it. Literally drop a comment. Let's get in touch, and yeah, let's talk about this stuff. Cheers, guys.